Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 144th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. Today, Friday, I thought I'd put on this battle, if you like, it's a kind of a bonus battle. As most of you know, I only usually put one battle on a week, and that's usually Saturday. But as everybody's out at the moment, I thought, well, I'll take a chance and put this battle on, as I said, a kind of a bonus battle. And what you'll notice about this map is this is not the usual flat map that most people seem to play on. This map is called the Pontic Peaks, and this is a map that I host on from now and again. As some of you might know, on Fridays and Saturday nights when I like to host on different maps sometimes, and this is one of those different maps. As I said, it's called the Pontic Peaks. I've hosted on it quite a bit in the past, and people seem to like it as kind of a bit of a different map. So I'll be interested to see what you think about this, the battle on this map. The team I'm in today consists of a Brotherhood member Cormac, who has bought the Greek Cities faction. And then we have Brotherhood member TR. He's called himself Minor Walker, but it is actually TR, and he has bought the Macedon faction. And then we have a Brotherhood member Cal, who has bought the Rome Brutii faction. And then myself, right the way down the bottom of the hill here, has bought the Rome Scipii faction there. So there's our armies there. As I say, on the weekends, I like to host on different games, and as you can see here, can you see the hill that my army has to run up to? And I think on the top here is where the main battle is going to be fought. So it'll be interesting to see how the enemy team and our team does fighting on this different map. And I hope it adds a bit more interest to the games for you watching this too. Should be great. And here is the other team. We have OTD Copsman, who has bought the Carthage faction. And then we have Paid For by Uncle Sam, who is actually SR, Scorpion King SR, and he has bought the Seleucid faction. And if you notice his army, if you look at his army here, you can see he's got loads of archers. Loads of archers there. It must be maybe 10, 11 maybe archers there. He's got a heck of a lot there, plus his pikemen, plus those tank cataphract cavalry too. And if you manage to get on top of that hill, it could be a lot to try and get through there. And then we have King Annibal, who has bought the Rome Julio faction. And then we have King's Talos, who has also bought the Rome Julio faction. So there's the enemy teams there. As I say, it should be an interesting game for you to watch, as it's on a bit of a different map. I think flat maps can be a bit boring sometimes. At this very opening of the battle here, you can see the top of the hill, and the Seleucid general SR would probably want to run his troops right up onto the crest of that hill there. Now if you look at my army, if you like, down in the valley here, this is the hill that my troops have got to run up. Here, I just put a bit of camera action in there so you can actually see them running up that steep hill. My guess is when they get to the top, they're going to be, I would have thought, at least tired by the time they get up there. And as you can see them running up the hill, can you see gradually what's confronting them at the top of the hill? Yes, the Seleucids have got onto the top of the hill first, and it looks to me like I'm going to be running uphill into the Seleucid army that would just be waiting there for me. And as you saw with all those archers they've got, they're going to be firing those arrows down onto me with the uphill advantage onto my troops coming up from the valley. So that could be costing me casualties already. As you can see, can you see how steep that hill is? My troops are running up. Now, if that cataphract cavalry all of a sudden decides to charge just now, can you see the cataphract cavalry charging in? That's that Seleucid, infamous Seleucid cataphract tank cavalry, just doing a downhill charge into my infantry. So as you notice, I've stopped that group of infantry running there, and I'm now going to charge them in to that Seleucid cavalry to try and take the sting out of that attack. If you notice, I'm also bringing my cavalry over. If you notice, my ally Cal with his Brutii cavalry are also ready to charge in there. But that Seleucid tank cavalry charge will cost me a heck of a lot of men. Can you see the enemy Carthage generals also bringing over pikes now? And as you can see there, both Cal and myself have just sent our cavalry in. Can you see the Carthage Sacred Band cavalry, enemy cavalry charging into us as well? And bang, as that cavalry hits. You can see the penetration of all those cavalry there. And there you can see the Carthage Sacred Band pikemen coming over as well. So, and you can see all those archers on the hill. Let's just pause the game for a second for us to take stock in this very early stage of the battle. As you can see, as you saw, my Scipio armies running up the hill, got hit by that massive cavalry hit, plus the Sacred Band cavalry, plus we've got loads of archer fire coming down onto us. Cal has brought his Brutii army over to support me here. A nice bit of teamwork there by Cal. But if you see all the Seleucid archers there firing loads and loads of fire arrows into our troops. And if you notice, the enemy Julii armies here are doing a cut-off tactic. What I mean by that, they're trying to cut Cal and myself off from our allies. If you notice there, remember the enemy are red, Rome, they're Carthage and Seleucid. But if you look at the red Rome there, can you see how they kind of almost put a line between us and our allies, cutting Cal and me off from TR and Cormac there. So things are not looking very good over on our... like over on our left flank. Here's an overall picture of the battle. As you can see, remember what I said at the beginning of the battle? I bet most of the battle is going to be fought right on the crest of the hill there. And as you can see, the enemy seems to have a big advantage over on our left flank. And my troops were tired by the time they got to the top of the hill. And then to get hit by all that cavalry, I'm surprised they're still managing to hold there. But really well done to Cal for bringing his Brutii infantry and cavalry over in support. But can you see the enemy Julii troops are attacking? You notice Cal's now moving all his infantry and cavalry into a mass hit onto the enemy Julii infantry there. He may even get units starting to rout. If units start to rout, it might cause a chain reaction there. That's probably what we'll be hoping for. If you notice, my Scipio troops are still fighting with the Seleucid cavalry here on the left and the Carthage Sacred Band infantry. As you can see here, that the enemy Julii general still trying to cut off our reinforcements from our allies getting to us there. But if you notice that TR is using Macedon very skillfully and bringing units round the, if you like, the side of the hill there. But here you can see. Can you see I'm charging my Scipio infantry in, and Cal's charging his infantry and cavalry into that enemy Julii infantry force there. As I say, if we can start getting a little bit of a rout going there, if we're lucky enough, we might start routing some of those units. But as you see, we're fighting just down from the crest of the hill there, so we're still at a bit of a disadvantage. Anyways, pause the game for a second for us to take stock of what's actually happening. As you can see, you've got Sacred Band pikemen coming into the fray. If you notice that Cal's backed his cavalry off, probably with a mind to charge back in to get the full cavalry charge bonus. But as you can see there, looking closely at the battle, here on our left flank, we are kind of in a bit of a precarious position, I would say, and we still haven't reached the top of the hill. We're still trying to fight up the hill against the enemy here. But if you noticed, TR very skillfully has removed Macedon pike factions round the side of the hill there to come up to support us. TR's always been good with Macedon. His micromanagement is really good, and his tactical use of Macedon's very good too. And here you can see Cormac now bringing Greek cities over, probably to take on the enemy Julii infantry there. So there's as I say, a general overview of the battle there. Be interesting to see what actually happens next. There, can you see the Carthage Sacred Band closing in on Cal's Brutii cavalry? Right, now, did you notice there that a lot of the Julii infantry all of a sudden mass routed there? That was, if you notice, that I charged my Scipio infantry in, and also, if you notice, there was a big lot of Macedon pikemen there. Now, those numbers of pikemen would have intimidated those Julii troops and probably lowered their morale a bit there. So when we charged forward with our Roman infantry, it caused a mass rout of that Julii army there. Remember that big numbers of enemy troops lowers the morale of their troops, of the Julii troops there. So and then when me and Cal hit them, then they kind of mass routed, as you just witnessed there. And bearing in mind, we're still kind of charging just up onto the crest of the hill there. We haven't done too bad. If you notice, a lot of my Scipii troops are have been routed, and some of them are starting to rout again now. So really well done to Cal there, fighting up onto the crest of the hill there. He's done really well. Nice support from our allies too. If you notice, the Carthage Sacred Band pikemen are closing in on my Scipii infantry there. If you notice, the enemy Julii cavalry and infantry are in a real tussle with Cal's infantry there on top of the hill. But if you notice that TR is moving his pikemen up there to support. I think that's my general's just been killed there. And if you notice, a lot of my Scipii units are starting to rout now. I think I've only got one infantry unit left now. The rest of my army have been killed and routed. I just hope that I've managed to weaken off those troops. Right, let's pause the game here for us to take stock of the situation again. As I say, my general's just been killed. As you can see, most of my units now have been routed. So it's up to my allies now to carry on with the battle. As I say, I think Cal did extremely well to fight his way right up onto the crest of the hill there. And then he's backed up by TR's Macedon units there, and Cormac's Greek cities units. So, as I say, there's still a lot of enemy troops left, but I think we've done well to actually get up onto the crest of the hill there. If you notice that Cormac's Greek cities are closing in slowly but surely. Remember what we've always said about maybe especially the Greek cities, Spartans, they kind of move slowly, but they kind of go over everything, a bit like a steamroller. And as you can see, Cormac's Greek cities there are advancing remorselessly into those enemy Julii infantry there. If you notice, some of the Julii infantry has rallied there. If you notice there on the left hand side, those units were routed, but they've actually rallied and have come back into the battle there. If you notice, Cal's infantry and cavalry are still fighting tooth and nail. The Brutii army there, still killing loads of the enemy. But if you notice that the Carthage Sacred Band are still fighting very well.
The gods be praised.
I think the enemy Julii general has just been killed there, and of course that will now lower the morale of his Julii army there. We've got lots of our Cretan archers firing arrows on. Here's a close-up battle of Carthage fighting against not only Greek cities but against Macedon as well. If you notice there, the Carthage Sacred Band have kind of got that Greek city general in a vice, if you like, there. If you notice, coming in from both sides there. Nice to see a bit of close-up fighting there of the Sacred Band and the Spartans there. If you notice, there's a lot of fire arrows coming in onto that Carthage Sacred Band though, because both Macedon and Greek cities have brought a lot of Cretan archers there. As I said, those rallied Julii troops are attacking again, but because they're so battle damaged and their morale will be so low that I don't think they're going to make much of a difference in this particular battle. I think the Seleucid general's just been killed there.
The gods be praised. The enemy's hearts are full of fear.
And there's a general overview of the battle there. Let's say it's mostly fought up on that crest of the hill there, where we thought it might be fought. Macedon long pikes and our Greek city ally there, both fighting the Carthage Sacred Band. Carthage Sacred Band, very stubborn infantry. They seem to hold for quite a long time there. And there's a general view there. If you notice, can you see how TR is keeping those Macedon units back there? That's a tactic he often used to keep them fresh, so we can bring them into battle if needed as fresh units. Remember what we've talked about in other battle videos about fresh units against tired units, how much of a difference that makes? See how he keeps those units back? And he just uses those when he wants to. Brand new, fresh units, full units as well. And he just uses those to attack. And he does that a lot when he plays with Macedon. And sometimes when it gets towards the end of the battle and a lot of the enemy units are tired, he just brings those forward. And they're kind of like battle-changing troops, really. So a nice little move there by Brotherhood member TR. As you can see here, Cal's Brutii army is still fighting against the enemy Julii infantry there. And it just seems to me now that it's mostly just the enemy Sacred Band, Carthage Sacred Band, that seem to be holding now for the enemy team. But remember, we're surrounded by all those big Mastodon units. The Carthage Sacred Band, even though they've got quite good morale, their morale will really be lowering now because they'll be aware of the numbers around them. Probably, if you put an arrow on them there, it'd probably say something like distraught by the number of enemy troops, and that's with their morale dropping really lots. Like, so you could probably see them rout pretty soon there. Can you see that Mastodon Point Factor coming in behind them? Probably it wouldn't surprise me if that Mastodon General started to rout soon. And there you go. There's the Mastodon General is just routed there. So the morale of all the troops. There's an overview picture of the battle there. As you can see, certainly a different type battle from the usual flat maps, and I hope you kind of have enjoyed it as it's a bit different.
Great gods be praised! The enemy general is killed.
And I think it's just some Seleucid, maybe some Seleucid archers and maybe a little bit of cavalry left that we're just actually just finishing off at the moment there.
Rome demands victory from her generals.
So say there's an overview of the actual battle. As you can see, there's lots of piles of dead. And if you remember, I had to run my infantry up that hill to get to the top there. First thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game. I thought the other team played extremely well. And I must say, when I saw that Seleucid army on top of the hill and I was running up towards it, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm not going to get up there. And sure enough, when that cataphract cavalry hit, and I could see the casualties that was causing, I was really pleased I managed to get up to the top of the hill there. Really well played to my allies. I thought there was some absolutely great tactical moves there. Really nice to see TR using his micromanagement and tactical moves of his pike units to come round to help me and Cal, who the enemy were trying to isolate there on our left flank. If you have a look at Cal's kills, you can see he's got some really great kills there. Really well done to him. And bearing in mind we were fighting uphill to get onto the crest of the hill, I thought that's really good kills for him. The Spartan Commander saying, hope you enjoyed the different map, and bye for now.